Cup, featuring the Western Mustangs and your Queens Gales.
Why aren't you Golden Gales?
We'll get the starting 10 lineup at center with the officials. We're playing with the national
We
anthem.
still are, just like it's harder to say.
It's easy to say.
I think
Hello, lacrosse friends. Welcome back to the 2017. Oh, we're going to have the national anthem. All right, welcome, lacrosse friends, to the 2017 Baggataway Cup. They just kind of spring the anthem on us here. Generally, some fine announcing here at Queens, but I'd like to get a little warning when the anthem's
They
coming.
just want the game to start.
Yeah, everyone's excited.
Yeah.
If we have another game like the last one, let's get her going.
Yeah, that one's going to be tough to beat here.
Guelph 12, Trent 11 in sudden victory or sudden death, depending on how you like to put it. Overtime, what a thriller. This one, we see the number 2 West seed Western Mustangs and defending Baggataway Cup champions taking on the Queens Gales. And Queens finished 5th in the East. They are here because they're the host, but I talked to Jeremy Levy, the Western coach, before the game, and he said, no, they're very good. Their offense can score. Their defense is really good. They've got good goaltending. Thomas Asma is starting in net for Queens, but they've got a couple of goalies that can play well. It's no given the Western's going to win this game. They should. They are the favorites, but it is not a gimme for them.
No, absolutely not. And the way that Queens does play, they grind teams out. They hold on to the ball. They possess. They've, like you said, good goaltending and strong defense. And when they do have their opportunities on offense, it's not like they just sit on the ball and wait. When they do have their opportunities, they do take it. And, yeah, I mean, you talk to any coach around this league, that's pretty much their one thing they say about this Queens team is don't look at the record because that's not the team that they are. They are much better than the standings show.
And we've been curious to see who will be taking the opening face-off for Western, as they've been kind of splitting it, and it looks like
Jackson
it'll be Jackson Rakosi.
The former Queen Green Gale, or Gold Gale.
Yeah.
Was an All-Canadian last year, so.
And here's a run and a chance. Oh, big save by Asma off a huge run there from the long pole, Tegan Meredith. Sorry, that was Keegan Crowley. I almost got our camera person excited because Tegan Meredith with a buddy of hers. And she was like, is he good? And we're like, well, he's okay. And, boy, if that had been him, she might have had trouble keeping the camera stable. Let's say, hey, go, buddy, go. No, she's a pro. Western with the steal. Oh, and the pass is too high. It's being chased down there. And Austin Haber gets it. Haber known primarily for his defensive acumen, but he's up in the offensive zone. Some terrific defense there. Queens gets it on the ground, and now they're going to try and control the ball, and it is scooped up. Emmett Donahoe takes possession. Some nice work by Samuel Rowe as well. Queens does have one All-Canadian on the club. It is number 23, Dylan Hutchison. Play mostly in the midfield for them. And you will see him. He's actually coming out onto the field right now. He's wide open around midfield and will probably be handling the ball shortly. Chris Bouchy, who takes the pass. Sorry, that pass to Davis Moore. Bouchy will handle the ball all the time. Sorry, that was Stephen Walsh.
Yeah, Bouchy, 43 points. leading the team. Clearly the catalyst here on offense, but
he is the catalyst, but at the same time, when you look at their goal scoring, they've got a bunch of guys who are right there.
Yeah, Riley Venton.
Yeah, Riley Venton with 21, Kyle Aylesworth with 19, then Bush with 18, and Hutchison with 16. So it's a varied offense. Manny Najjar, who absolutely lit it up last year at the Baggataway.
Oh, yeah.
Does the goalie light it up? I guess that's a bit of an odd terminology. Stops them from lighting it up. But Manny Najjar was fantastic, and he was pumped after that championship. He's a young player. He said, I want more Baggataway Cups. I want to keep winning this thing. Right now, he wants to clear the ball. He'll make the pass a little bit high, but Peter Hunt controls it. Hunt, another one of these solid Western defenders. He's just going to give it back to Najjar. That long pass doesn't connect, and the Gales come up with it. Ball skips away, but they do maintain possession, and they're going to use Asma, the goalie. A lot of pressure on the ride. Western loves to put pressure on you and not let you have the free clear. There's some hustle by Tristan Simeone.
Yeah, Western likes to play fast at all times in the offensive zone, pushing it in transition on defense, pressuring, and like you saw there on the ride as well.
Ryan McGuire tried to feed that pass through, maybe a bit of a force, but Queens will take any chance when they can get an opportunity to go to goal because Western's defense plays such a solid system under Coach Jeremy Talevy and his crew.
Yeah, over the last few years, Western kind of changed their identity. Before, they would grind teams out, hold them to, single digits most times with strong defensive cores. As it changed, Talevy really recognized that the league was going to more of a goal-scoring league and, picking up some great players, some offensive players, and that really changed. But this year, I think you see more of a traditional Western defense. The guys are now getting older, and they play that system so strong. So this might be one of the better balanced Western teams we've seen in a long time.
The big story for Western today is that Cody Ward, number 14, right on top of the crease. He's in the slot there, sliding off to the left, and he's wide open over there. He is here, and we did not expect it. I'd heard that he would not be here this weekend because as he spins off a check and tries to find something, he was signed by the Rochester Nighthawks, and I was told he was going to be at their camp all weekend trying to make that National Lacrosse League team. Shot well wide by Michael Byrne. And we're going to keep an eye out for Reed Reinhold, number 19. I asked Jeremy to leave if he'd be here. As he plays for the Toronto Rock and was expected to be at their camp. Reinhold told me he wouldn't be here tonight. But there's a shot in a goal. A little delayed. Oh, no, it isn't. It's on the... Yes, there it is. It's finally indicated. Nobody quite knew which side of the mesh that was on. And Asma finally kicks it out and the goal for Western.
Took a while for the officials to figure out if it was a goal or not, but, I mean, the man who took the shot there absolutely knew that one hit the back of the net, and that was Cole Davis, number 22 for Western. He was the most confident guy on the field, knew that one went in, and a very outside shot. I think it might have even almost went off a body and in. It looked like the goaltender might have got a piece of it, but...
Western's goal scored by number 22, Cole Davis.
Big battle at midfield. Matthew Leon taking the face-off for Queens, and Rakosi again. A little surprised just because of how good Michael Byrne was last year for Western, but he's playing a bit more of an offensive role now. But, I mean, he was fantastic at last year's Baggataway Cup at Brock.
Yeah, with bringing in Rakosi, a former, all-Canadian selection at the face-off X, it allows Mike Byrne to, like you said, take a couple more offensive reps. I mean, he's a stud out his own end as a defensive midi as well. And I think we're going to see him and Austin Haber maybe play a little more offensive shifts today if Reed Reinhold doesn't come because, he's such a weapon on the midfield position.
And Jackson Hulbert trying to force the pass through, didn't quite connect, goes out the end line, and Queens gets possession. There's Dylan Hutchison. He is triple teamed, throws it back to the defender, and Samuel Rowe. He makes the pass across. That gets away from Lachlan Evans, and Western will come up with it. Once again, Keegan Crowley running with the ball, and he was the youngster last year that really jumped out in that one game at the Baggataway where we were just blown away by his ability to get up, and he scored a dandy of a goal last year as well. Now Western will slow things down. They'll let Haber hand it off. Nick Ferris, the Alberta product, came to Western and wound up playing with the Orangeville Northmen because he was in Ontario, wanted to play junior in Ontario, played Junior B with them, and was instrumental in them winning a Founders Cup championship, the National Junior B title. There you see Dylan Hutchison, 23, playing defense as well. He will play both ends of the field for Queens, and he is sticking with Ben Mercy, who was a teammate, actually, of Ferris on that Northman team, and that is how Nick Ferris wound up there. He was looking for a place to play, and Ben Mercy said, hey, come and play with us. And, worked out pretty well for them. Oh, what a great tip. Reaching way up there.
Ooh.
And that one, that's going to sting. Was that the post or was it off the player?
No, that was
okay.
the pipe.
Okay. Thought for a second it was off a player, and that would hurt if it came up that high. That shot's going to go wide. Western has a couple of players behind the net, and they will maintain possession. But Theo Bresselin, who is an all-Canadian honorable mention, along with Chris Bouchy for Queens, reached up, jumped up with the long pole, and tipped that initial pass, but Western did control it and get it back. And another shot, that one's off the pipe as well. A hard rip. That was Thomas Masterson, 40-point scorer, including 18 goals this year. This is one star player after another for these Mustangs.
Oh, yeah. We've seen Cody Ward take a couple of shots from the wing there. Similar to what we saw with Garrett Eddy last game. He's a player that has a ton of confidence, and he'll basically shoot from anywhere on the field.
He will, and I mean, he led the Western Conference in scoring. Of course, Brandon Slade for Brock with 83 points. We're still not sure if that's the all-time record for Kufla. If not, it's awfully close.
It absolutely
incredible.
has to be, because I do believe the schedule is much bigger now. I think at some seasons at one point they only played anywhere between 8 to 10 games.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, as teams have been added. So.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's no doubt a historical season for Slade. He joins the likes of Sean Williams.
Yep, just the second Brock player to ever score 300 points in his career.
Yeah,
it's a storied career, and he is apparently going to be here. We thought he would not be here as well because he is at Toronto Rock Camp trying to make that team. I've heard he's going to be here on the weekend. Brock has today off, so they don't play until tomorrow. Latrell Harris in the same boat. He plays for the Toronto Rock. He's a freshman with Brock, and they're pretty excited to have him as part of that defense we talked about with Josh Harris and Parker Bale as well. Here's Hutchison coming out from behind the net. There's a sidearm rip off the pipe. Comes straight back out, but bounces out of the stick of Aylesworth. And again, Crowley, this time it's a give and go. Feeds the man in the middle. It's a pair of long poles. I was kind of pulling for them to score there because I have never seen I don't recall seeing two long poles playing catch in the offensive zone on the break before.
That's the style of play that Western goes. It's a run and gun. It doesn't matter who's on the field. They're pushing it in transition up the field at all time, and it's usually Keegan Crowley leading the way like we saw last year. He really stepped up.
He'll run, and he just glides up the field. But it was Michael Moriyama joining him on that one. Now they get the usual offensive personnel out, and Byrne will make the pass. We have the, looks like the Queens band over on the far side of the field. Pretty exciting to have them here. I'm sure everyone here is pretty stoked to have this tournament here. Boy, they would be fired up if Queens could pull off the upset here. Ball up top to Byrne. Low pass is snagged by Masterson. They go behind the net. Simeone reverses course. Passes out. Lots of room to shoot, but missing the net by a mile was Michael Byrne. There's a shot, short angle by Patrick Gamble, and that one bounces hard off the far wall. Will be Western possession once again. Sidearm rep by Masterson. lot of chances for Western. Queens may have to. They're packing in, really forcing Western to try and shoot from outside.
Might not be
decent chances.
Might not be advantageous with the shooters that they do have.
We'll see. I mean, they've only given up the 1 goal so far. Nice little tap by Samuel Rowe. Rowe's having a strong game here for Queens. Or in the early going, we're about halfway through the first quarter. Nice play with the feet there by John Kitt. Rumbling up, and you could see that Connor McCauley, 25 for Queens, heard the footsteps coming. Now McCauley's going to try and check on Austin Haber. Haber gives it up. That pass through doesn't work, but it is going to be picked back up. Cody Ward banging off the goaltender, goes out. Queens ball as it goes off of Ward. He worked hard for it, but Asma winds up getting the best of that confrontation. Rowe, nice pickup on the short hop, and very alertly gets it ahead to Max McBride. And then they give it away. Asma just getting back to his net. Swim move by Simeone. Oh, sorry, that was Austin Haber. Austin Haber of the 2 goals in the regular season, but he looked like a true sniper on that one.
Austin Haber, a West Durham Ironhead, so I've seen him do that swim move far too many times. Known as a defender, likes to move the ball up in transition, and he's got so much speed and strength. And what a beautiful spin move and a great finish. Great to see Austin Haber, a defensive specialist, get involved in the scoring there.
Rakosi and Leon. Rakosi knocks it ahead, then pulls it back to Crowley. He's got the hands way down on the stick, reaching it out, and he's going to let it. Oh, he's going to pass it to Ward. Doesn't get it through. I thought he was going to let that one go.
I thought so too.
Kind of liked it, actually. That's not a bad shot selection if he takes it. Instead, he throws the passes down by Ward's feet. Didn't give him much of a chance, and the ball is turned over. Queens goes the other way with Chris Boucher coming back to help out. Throws it ahead to Hutchison. Bounces past him. And what is Manny Najjar doing up there? He almost got himself in some big trouble. If that had been scooped up by Aylesworth, that was an easy goal.
Yeah.
But good work by the Western defenders. Queens will maintain possession. Alex Bula, veteran captain, slowing things down on the far side. Then they move it around. Comes over to Hutchison on the near side. That's Aylesworth with it. They're going to let Davis Moore try and create from behind. Moriama on him. Five and a half to go. It's 2-0 Western. Hutchison wants to change that, but his shot is a little high and wide. Hutchison, Peterborough native, who plays for the Cobourg Kodiaks in Major Series lacrosse. 7th overall picks, first in the second round in this year's draft of MSL players. Cobourg likes what he brings. He plays both ends of the floor, inside as well. Oh, and there's a nice finish. Crossing hands is Alex Bula. He had just 8 goals in the regular season, played only 8 games, but he's got a big one here to pull Queens within 1.
Yeah, Bula, 8 games played. I mean, if you can provide a goal a game, team's going to take that every time, but great job there. Bull rushing through. And doesn't quite switch hands, but he just moves it to the offside, and it's kind of an awkward shot for Najjar. Kind of handcuffs him there, and he can't make the save.
Scored by number 22, Alex Bula.
Rakosi wins it to himself again, and Western once again starts with possession. And Leon gets his stick wrapped up around the neck area of Rakosi. No call. I was kind of expecting a flag on that one.
Yeah, I thought so as well, but
Ward takes his time as they get the offensive personnel out. Lobs it ahead, the one hopper. Ball in behind the net. Masterson spinning, working his way out. Tried to pass that one through. Again, a low pass. We've seen a few wayward passes by Western and them leading to turnovers. Queens needs to take advantage of that. They got the last goal, but then all kinds of ride pressure. Well, Western, oh no, it's Queens hustling to get it back, and the band loves it as Kellen Rankin scoops that ball, throws it ahead. It's a little bit low. Ryan McGuire can't quite handle it, and eventually it's Moriyama coming up with it, but he is tossed to the ground. Wasn't much question about that one.
No,
Ryan McGuire didn't even wait to see the flag land. He was actually in the penalty box before the flag hit the turf.
Yeah, there you could have called a hold or a hit up high. There's a couple opportunities there. So
Western to the man up. Jackson Hulbert makes sure his shoelace is tied up snugly. Now he'll get the ball with his footwear all ready to roll. Is he going to let it rip? No, he's going to pass down low to Ward. His shot goes wide. It'll be Western possession as they have a man behind the net.
Western loves to roll that wheel offense and try to get Cody Ward open on that wing, and they're trying it once again.
And it works. I mean, he's a 41 goal scorer. This time it's Masterson letting it fly low to high. There's a lot of talent on this Western team. Nick Ferris takes it. Ferris thought that might be coming for him. It was actually intended for his teammate. Now Ferris gets it. They're really rolling that ball around. Oh, Masterson doesn't look very comfortable, but he'll wait, pass it off. Save 5-hole by Asma off the shot by Jonathan Takiwa. And a little bit of pressure from Ward, but that's really just a slip-up by Queens as they don't connect on the pass and hand it right back to Western. The penalty is over, so they're back to even strength, but you don't want to give Western more possessions. Minute and a half to go here in the first quarter. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire. It's the Baggataway Cup on Queens TV from lovely Richardson Stadium.
Queens here, they just have to be smarter with the ball. Like you said, you don't want to keep handing this powerful offense more chances, especially with the way they're playing right now. The Mustangs right now aren't playing to their abilities, not cashing in on chances, and they've actually turned the ball over quite a bit.
Cole Davis up top, gives it off in the hard low to high rip. Asma had no trouble with that. 47 seconds to go. We'll see if Queens can get out of their own end. Keaton Ward makes the pass ahead. It's contested down on the ground. They did come up with it as Davis Moore had it for a moment.
Push.
We're going to have to double check because it's actually just noticing. I asked one of the coaches beforehand for Queens who was starting. He said Thomas Asma, but I think that's actually Taylor Welsh in net, number 34 for Queens. And that's
the thing with Keegan Crowley. He rushes the ball so often that sometimes he just sees something that he likes.
Yeah, but I mean there was 8 seconds left, so I think he was figuring let's push it and see what we can do here.
But I mean take that to the net.
Yeah, and you can see he got a little bit of a chat from Cole Davis who said, "Relax, go to the net because we've seen him.
We see what he can do. Take it to the net." You see him right now shaking his head. He knows, but
2-1 the score after 20 minutes of play. The Western Mustangs ahead of the Queens Gales, and I'll tell you, Queens doesn't mind that. They're right in the mix, and you got to get through that first quarter because there is the potential for Western to just run away with this
Absolutely.
game. So the thing for Queens, keep it close, take advantage when you can, but they can't. They actually, given how many times they threw the ball away, they've got to feel fairly fortunate that they're only down by 1. And Keegan Crowley is getting a chat from one of the coaches. He's nodding. He's saying, I know. And the coach is going back and saying, yeah, you're good. He's like, I know, coach. I know. I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Queens obviously would be happy with the score right now, but I do think that they even know that they could be playing better right now, and they have to capitalize on Western's mistakes. And sure, you know what? Western's a team that they are a run and gun. They're going to turn the ball over, trying to get some chances on the fast break. They're going to try skip passes that other teams aren't going to try. So it's Queens has to do a better job not just capitalizing on mistakes, but just even be able to push the ball up. Right now, I don't really like their clear attempt. Pretty much they're just trying to bomb it up to their attack
Oh,
man.
no, and we've got a flag thrown. There are
Illegal
stick
stick.
checks every quarter and halftime break, and that is a massive penalty, and it's going to be on Queens as once the stick is being returned to Western, the Queens stick will go to the officials. And that's a 3-minute penalty. It's going to be on
Chris Boucher.
Chris Boucher. Boucher trying to figure out what it is. He's asking about his stick. He's got to play with another stick. You don't get that back until it's corrected.
No, that's unfortunate. That's 43 points in that stick. And as you know, offensive players, and if you're not familiar with the game of lacrosse, it's not quite like a hockey stick where you tape it up a certain way, and it is so personal how you string your own stick. And sometimes players cheat a little bit and they just hope they don't get caught, but in this case Boucher got caught and he's not going to be able to use that stick, and that's going to affect his game for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes it's something they think the stick's okay. It's been okay previously when it's checked, and then, I mean, with the weather, things can
for
change.
sure.
You've got to make sure you're within that range of acceptable limits. Now, it can be too long. That's something you're totally in control of. The strings hanging off the side, when you tie up your shooting strings, they can only be 3 inches long. So that's sometimes, I know I've heard players get it for that, which is really a bad mistake. You can trim your shooting strings.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a funny rule that you can have those shooters, but you don't want them hanging way down, distracting people as you throw the ball. We'll see if Western can take advantage. It's exactly the worst thing that could have happened to Queens. I was going to say their offense seemed a bit tentative, like they were worried about Western breaking up the other way as you talked about, and now they don't have Boucher for a while. Very patient by Western. Masterson comes down low. Ward rips it. I think that went off the stick of, we're going to say it's Taylor Welsh. I'm pretty sure it's Welsh in net now.
It went off something. I heard something. I don't know if it was a stick, helmet, what it may be, but he definitely got a piece of that. And he's been playing pretty well this first half so far.
That low pass is picked up and ripped home. And Western immediately takes a timeout. Tristan Simeone. What a shot. The assist to Jackson Hulbert. Again, the low pass
Gorgeous
from Western.
pass. Absolutely. Gorgeous pass by Jackson Hulbert. Recognizing Queens sticks up in the lanes, trying to take it away. So Hulbert almost gets down close to being on one knee. Sidearm pass that just gets right through. It's a beautiful pass, and Simeone makes no mistake.
And we've talked about some passes that were low that they're a mistake, because if the guy's wide open and you throw it down around his feet, that's a problem. But if he sees that you're low, having to make, that's the only place you've got to feed the ball through, then he's going to be ready for it. And you can see that Simeone was ready. Now, we called the Ontario Junior Men's Field Lacrosse League championship games last week. There was a Simeone there. It wasn't Tristan, though, was it?
No.
Was it his little brother?
It might have been. It
I
actually
think it
may
was.
have been.
The program here for the tournament has the hometowns of a bunch of the players listed. Actually, I think just for the Queens players. So I'm trying to think where Simeone is from. Oh, he's from Sudbury. How do you know that? Okay, so Matt, who's doing? What are you doing, Matt? What are you doing today? Okay, he's doing the score bug for us. He was on camera in the first game, and he is correct in saying that Tristan Simeone is from Sudbury, Ontario. So there you go. And he did play Barrie U19, so it would have been his brother that we saw last week playing for Barrie in the B Championship of the OJMFLL. There's information everywhere.
It is. It's true. You can Google anything.
Yeah. Or Matt anything.
Yeah, who needs
Matt something? Western setting up. They want to take advantage and get another goal on this power play as Boucher is out again for 3 minutes, non-releasable. That's why we saw the timeout, so they could maximize the chances on this power play. They're really wheeling. Queens rotating. Nice job there. That was a great play. That is Samuel Rowe, we talked about what a strong game he's been having. That was just a gorgeous.
Yeah, stole a goal there. There's no doubt that should have been a goal.
Cody Ward was wide open there, and he just got on the stick. And Rowe, that's a big play.
Yeah.
Because, we said Queens needs to stay in this. And Queens gets the ball back in their own end. Welsh throws it across.
That motion offense on the power play is so tough to defend. Oh. You don't want to get around chasing because that's what they want to do. But at the same time, you don't want to be caught flat-footed because then you're just going to leave open up shots. They almost ran that perfectly to a T with that slide coming over from Rowe.
The ball is loose. Interesting seeing Connor McCauley. That's John Kitt. The long pole is up all the way deep in the Queens zone. Checking. He was on the goal. He got it loose, but they managed to regain possession. And then the ball pops away. And here's a chance for Ferris. He's going to bury that. There's no way you can leave him alone. And Alex Bulla just runs straight to his goalie and apologizes for losing the ball and then losing his man in front of the net.
Yeah, that's inexcusable there. We talked about how Queens has to play a near perfect game if they want to not just win this game, but stay close. And mistakes like that, you can't hand over a team like Western with so much offensive power. You can't hand them a goal like that. That just can't happen.
See now if Queens can get possession here and minimize or at least mitigate the damage. Procedure call, and Queens will get possession here. They are back to full strength. Big hit there. The Queens player goes sprawling and lands out of bounds with the ball. It was Justin McIntosh who went sliding across the sideline. Bounce shot attempted. Couldn't quite find his target. That was Jackson Riccozzi, the face-off man, taking that one. Immediate pressure on the ride. Great hustle by Simeone, the last goal, or 2 goals ago for Western. To get that pressure on, they throw it back to Welsh in his crease. Welsh with the long pass, too long, a little bit high for Rowe, and Western will get it as that ball skips out of bounds.
A lot of self-inflicted wounds right now for this Gales team. That first quarter, they kept the mistakes to a near minimum, and they were able to stick with Western. Now Western, still only up 4-1 right now, but it just seems that every time that Western loses possession, Queens is just handing it right back to them, and not because all the time Western's riding hard, because they are, but sometimes they've been unforced errors as well.
Yeah, they have. And the problem, like we said, Western will capitalize when you give them chances. That stick penalty, I don't think Chris Boucher went out intending to get a stick penalty.
No.
You've got to make sure that your stick is within regulations. And, Western taking advantage of the chances they have.
Ian Garrison down on by the officials' table has the stick there, so he's making sure that stick's going nowhere.
Yeah, he is hanging on to it. Be interesting to find out what rule it broke. Oh, nice grab there by Crowley. And he is going for a run. Nice pass to Masterson. There's Ward, scores! Had Welsh looking far side, got him off his line, and just bounced it near side past him. And that's a beautiful goal scorer's finish, because not many times can you get a goalie to just leave you that near side, but Ward convinced him he was going over to the far post.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And not only that, Welsh goes down, and he still throws a bounce shot, but throws it well enough that it bounces over his head. Normally, you see a goal scorer sees the goalie go down, immediately they think up high. But the goalie's coming down when they go on their knees. The first thing they're doing is lifting their stick. So instead, what does he do? He throws the bounce that gets Welsh to go down with his stick as well, and it bounces right over his head. A brilliant, brilliant goal from a smart player in Cody Ward.
Western's goal scored by number 14.
And I've got a correction from Kevin Kaplis, assistant commissioner for Kufla, who says it's 2 inches. that the shooting strings can be, because it can get in somebody's eye.
Yep.
Which is true. So Queens has taken a timeout as they are down 5-1, and basically this is to try to not let this game get away from them, because things went pretty well in the first quarter, but 3 goals here in the second quarter in the first 5.5 minutes. I mean, they've got to try and rein things in.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing for Queens as well, is the last thing you want to do is force the issue and, try to find goal-scoring opportunities when they're not there. But at the same time, you're down 4 goals already. You got to push the tempo at some point, but it hasn't been working for them. You never really want to, get in a run-and-gun match against the Mustangs.
No. Penalty coming off the faceoff, and it will be against Queens. Another flag is down, and it went later, so it looks like it will be 2 separate fouls. Okay, so it's for the same call. It was just one of the refs had a little trouble getting his flag out of his pocket, but Matthew Leon has taken a 1-minute slashing call. And again, you got to play hard defense. You got to fight for the ball, and you get a little overzealous, and you give Western this chance here. Ferris passes it down. He's going to look to get it back. Will. Hulbert to Masterson, and Ward rips it straight into the stick of Welsh.
Western electing for the ball to do most of the movement there. Pretty stagnant, but they were whipping the ball around, which is still very difficult to defend, and that's the type of offense that Western is. Not only do they have many different weapons in players, they have many plays, especially on their man-up opportunity. They could throw so many different things at you.
And you're talking about stagnant relative to the foot movement.
Yes, exactly.
In that case. But, boy, a lot of offenses would love to have that kind of stagnancy of that ball moving so quickly around. Taylor Welsh going for a great run. He's over center, and that's offside, I think. You can see the entire Western team. They're still yelling, and they're saying, hey, they're still offside. And they are. They didn't have anybody stay back for the goaltender at all. And I mean, all Queens could do is keep playing, because if you send somebody back to run and cover for him, it's obvious that you had an extra guy and you're making up for it. So nothing they can do. The ball's turned over, and Western gets possession once again. Ball in the stick of Mackenzie Wilkinson. That's the old, if you send an extra guy off the bench, just leave him out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you've got the penalty, the late penalty coming, there's no point bringing him back. Masterson to Ward. Queens is back to full strength. Western taking their time, throwing around the top. Byrne with the bounce shot, just wide, and it'll be Western maintaining possession. They had 3 white jerseys behind the goal line extended. Jackson Hulbert directing traffic with his head. Indicates to Cole Davis to switch positions with him. Ward lets that one fly. It was wide, but Masterson is back there to pick one up in the back of the end zone. Well, the front of the end zone, the back of the lacrosse area.
Yeah, this Mustangs team knows when Cody Ward's loading up, someone has to be back there, because he'll shoot from absolutely anywhere.
Yeah. Masterson back to Ward. He takes a bit of a whack there from Mitchell McBroom. 21.5. Oh, off the post. Mitchell McBroom with 21.5 penalty minutes on the season. That is a lot of penalty minutes. He likes to lay the lumber. He likes to play a physical game. And he is watching Ward, who trots in, and McBroom goes with him.
Yeah, McBroom's a big boy.
Yeah.
I mean, Cody Ward's not the biggest player, but he is towering over him.
and making it unpleasant for Ward to be covered. They get Ward coming around from behind GLE, and he bounces another one between Welsh and the post. And Taylor Welsh is not happy with himself on that one.
No, Welsh isn't happy, but I mean, can you really expect Ward to be taking that shot, running into it, grabs the ball, barely gets enough separation to even get the shot off, and it's kind of a fadeaway, so it goes through traffic, and Welsh can't get anything on that. Sure, he wants that one back, but most players wouldn't even think to shoot that.
Samuel Rowe taking the face-off for Queens. Ricosi gets it away from him. Dominating at the dot.
And I hope Ward has his box lacrosse arm guards, because he's wearing the short midfield ones, and we've seen the way that McBroom lays the lumber.
Yeah.
He might want to throw those on in the second half.
Yeah. Doesn't want to go back to Nighthawks tryouts with a broken arm.
No, that would not be good, but there's so much skin exposed right now on his arm. I know as a defender, if I saw skin, I'd try my best to make sure they regret wearing the small arm guards.
Especially you look at Ward's left arm, which is his protecting arm, and it's almost like from the entire elbow down.
Yeah.
There's open space, and he's got they've got the short sleeves, so you can see exactly what's there.
Yeah. I mean, normally you'll see midfielders and long poles wearing the small caps. Very rare for an attackman.
Jackson Hulbert has gone behind the net, passes it out top. Tell you, Simeone was thinking about a shot. Now he's going for a run. McBroom on him. That's going to be a tripping call. And that's a tough one for McBroom, because he'd stripped the ball and really just kind of inadvertently got tangled up with the feet of Simeone.
Yeah, that's a tough one. He is lucky, though. He didn't get one for, once the play was over, for hacking the ball, trying to get it loose. Once the play was clearly over, but. I mean, let's be honest. The officials check the box score. They know which players are, tend to take more penalties than others, and they're watching those certain players a little closer.
That happens. There's Masterson. Comes to Ward. Masterson buries it. 18 goals in the regular season. He's got one here, and Western once again takes a timeout to maximize their time on the penalty to McBroom.
Just too easy for Western. They run that motion offense on both sides, and Queens their defense looks absolutely gassed. Masterson recognized no defender was coming out to him, so he takes that shot and just puts it right over the head of Walsh. Walsh is walking to the bench right now, looks lost. He just doesn't even know what to say at this point, and it's tough for him because I don't want to say he's getting hung out to dry, and there has been a couple of shots that he probably does want back, but he is getting just a shooting gallery at him right now.
I would say most of the two near post goals by Cody Ward that he'd like to have had covered, but I mean, Ward is so skilled and so deceptive.
Yeah, and that's like I said, you don't really expect someone to shoot there or take those shots.
$7:54 to go here in the first half. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire, bringing you Baggataway Cup Canadian University Field Lacrosse Association Championship action on Queens TV. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It will be Brock and Guelph. Bit of an upset for Guelph, a huge win in overtime over Trent. So those two Western Conference schools will face off at 1 p.m. and then at 4 p.m. we'll have the winner of this game facing the McGill Redmen. So we know there's going to be a Western Conference team in the championship game. Unless Queens can pull off a miracle comeback here, the hopes of the Eastern Conference will be riding with the Redmen tomorrow when they face the winner of this, looking to be the Western Mustangs. But hey, there's 47 and a half minutes of game to play here.
We've seen stranger things.
Ferris. Ward, I was saying he's thinking about shooting it.
Yeah.
He let her fly. It's a pretty nice blocked shot by Lachlan Evans. Oh, that was blocked by the defender and then just hockey shot it into the net. Hockey shot into the net. And the defender is still down. You could hear the thud as that ball hit him. And I think some of the Queens players may have slowed down a little bit because they knew that he was shaken up. Is that Samuel Rowe?
I believe so.
Yeah, number 3. What a great game he's been having. He's going to stop and catch his breath after about 5 steps toward the bench. And the trainer's saying, take your time. There's no need for you to rush off. Clock is stopped. It's running time until the last 3 minutes of the game. But with the injury, they will stop it for a moment.
I mean, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
And just it looks like, Queens can't catch a bounce right now at all. And hopefully for Samuel Rowe, it's just a stinger because, like you said, he's been one of the bright spots for this Gales team. He's had himself a very strong game in his own end, breaking up passes, has been a monster on loose balls. It's just, it looks like he maybe got it up in the neck. He keeps, going to his neck, which is scary, but it looks like he's okay.
Yeah. I tell you, those rising shots can be killer. I blocked one of those in high school lacrosse. Just in my ribs, like just on the chest. Like
not fun.
Just kind of where your chest starts to poke out. And it absorbed it. It kind of lifted me off the ground.
Ugh.
Boy, the bruise I had after that one. And I don't recall the sound being as loud as that was.
Yeah.
And we're again at the top of the stadium here at Richardson Stadium, and we heard that one. So hopefully Samuel Rowe is okay. Kudos to him for a terrific game so far. Ferris has it at the top, slowing things down for Western. This is tricky for Western, too, because, they want to keep playing. You don't want to run a score up.
No.
But they got to keep working on their things. They got to play, McGill tomorrow if they hold on to win this.
You know what?
Nice strip there. Western gets it back. That was Bresselin creating the ground ball, but again, the bounce goes straight to Western. All the breaks seem to go in Western's way as well. Ferris with some nifty foot and stick work. He's going to let one bounce. But that goes wide. Masterson, though, is parked back there.
Crease.
Oh, it's a crease violation. Yeah. So Queens will get the ball. Trying to get a look to see what Samuel Rowe is doing over on the Queens bench. It seems like he's standing amid a group of players. Now we've got an offside foul against Western. That's going to be a penalty. Bit of an error by Simeone, and he'll go and serve. Dylan Hutchison starts with it for Queens. They'll try and get another goal here before the half ends. 5:07 to play. Hutchison's at the top. Hutchison takes it and quickly passes it back. He'll get the return pass. Thought about letting it rip. Now he will. That one's wide. Queens will retain possession. Bushy's on the far side at the top as the ball is behind the net, being passed back and forth. Western's killed the penalty. Queens still had a chance, and there's another one coming. Luca Danetta running around behind the net. They lose the ball out of play, and the penalty will be blown in. It's Keegan Crowley. Gets the holding call. I think Mackenzie Wilkinson thought it was him because he sprinted in the penalty area and knelt down as well.
That's 2 pretty good chances for Luca Danetta so far. Freshman from St. Michael's College in Toronto. Pretty good freshman season for him.
Right. He was very good for St. Mike's last year. I was at 2 years ago at the All-Catholic High School Championship at Christ the King over in Georgetown.
Georgetown. Yep, it's Georgetown.
Sorry,
Yep.
Near Arthur.
Yeah, it's
Same idea. But in Georgetown. And, yeah, I mean, that's a great program at St. Mike's.
Oh,
I'm in
yeah.
St. Peter from Peterborough, the two,
Yeah.
two of the absolute top teams in the
perennial
province.
powerhouses. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Donetta and Dylan Mocha, another player here for Queens, both coming from there, freshmen, first years with the program, and Donetta obviously showing that he can make an impact.
We
With
talked about
15 points in
McBroom
12
being
games.
we talked about McBroom being rough and tough and taking his penalties. That was a great defensive play, and that was a massive ward off by Colin DiGiacomo for DiGiacomo. But he will retain possession. They move it around, and Welsh has it behind the net.
This ride is so suffocating. I mean, Queens is having such a difficult time.
Breslin goes for a run and gets it up over midfield. Just as he does, he passes it ahead. And Bulla.
That's the first true successful clear that Queens has had.
Yeah, like really clean.
Yeah. And they had to work for it, though.
They did.
That's
Bulla hands it over to Bushi. He's going to lob the pass across. No sign of Rowe returning to the field yet, but he is still down on the sideline with his teammates, so that's a good sign. Hopefully he can return, because he has been, I would say he's been their best player
yeah.
so far.
I would have to agree, especially in that first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Made a couple of big plays to take away goal-scoring opportunities from Western.
And Queens trailing 8-1. I mean, it's hard. It's going to be a challenge to get back, but they've got to take some chances and really be a little more dynamic, I would say, in the offensive zone. They've almost looked tentative against this Western defense, and you understand why. Western's got a great defensive unit, and you get it, but you got to believe in yourself and try and make stuff happen. There's Dylan Hutchison trying to do so. He gets a shot that actually almost bounced in off the defender. Flag goes up. Moriyama going off. Or is he? No, it might be Haber. Yeah, it's Moriyama coming. He started to come, then he hesitated. Now Moriyama will kneel. 1 minute cross-check call. And the crease violation by Queens.
So Queens getting a crease violation, and official Kyle Kropman doing a good job so the guys up here can even hear it as well. So we got a pretty good explanation there. So less time served, meaning the smaller of the two infractions does come up with possession. So.
And it's Dylan Hutchison, one of the key offensive components for Queens that's off. But Bushi, their top scorer, has the ball now. He's going to go for a bit of a run wide on this 5-on-5. And Hutchison is going to be released. Then Queens will have an edge. Oh, there's a pass right in front, almost finishing, just missing. There's a finish. Great chance for Benton. He can't do it, but Ainsworth puts it in. And Queens immediately takes the timeout as Moriyama is still in the penalty area.
Kyle Aylesworth went to Ohio Valley University, a D2 program. Came home. He's from Kingston, Ontario. So I think it was the last two games. So the last week of Kufla lacrosse against Nipissing, he had 5 points in one game, 8 in the other. So he really turned it on near the end of the season. And we both write for IL for Inside Lacrosse. And one of the things I said in my 3 stars write-up was that Aylesworth really had to be a big part, not only if they wanted to upset Western, but just stay competitive. And that was really the first time we even saw him get involved in the offense.
That's true. And it was a nice pickup off the original shot by Venton. But Aylesworth was the Queen's Male Athlete of the Week for the whole school that week. And they were pretty impressed with what he did. That's a nice little finish. 41.8 seconds to go in the half. 8-2 Western leading. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire. This is Queens TV presentation of the 2017 Baggataway Cup. And Bishop's University is sitting at home saying, Oh, we'd like to be there right now. And, I mean, realistically, they obviously probably would have been more competitive with Western because they have been here before. They've been to lots of Baggataway Cup tournaments. And but, hey, Queens is doing a great job of hosting this tournament. They are full value for getting their shot as the hosts to play here. And just hope they can come out and have a strong second half. Right now, Western with possession as they are killing this penalty. And Moriyama is released, so Rakosi will hand the ball off after a good job. He's going to stay up in the offensive end. Masterson, 2 seconds left to shoot, gets it to Rakosi, who loses the ball as he was about to take it. And a big collision with, guess who, Mitch McBroom, as he runs into Charlie Taylor in the offensive zone there. We'll go to the half. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire. Thanks for being with us. We'll take about a 10-minute break. We'll be back with more Baggataway Cup action on Queens TV via the Kufla Facebook page. welcome back across friends to Richardson Stadium here on Queen's University campus. I'm Stephen Stanford, Pat Gregoire, and this is Studio Q's presentation of the Baggataway Cup 2017. My bad, I was living in the past, saying Queen's TV. I don't know what it is. Studio Q.
You're a purist. You don't like change.
Oh, here's a chance for Rakosi, and he scores! Gets the face-off, runs around, evades everybody, and makes it 9-2 for Western.
It's got to be a pretty special moment for Rakosi, a former Gale playing with this very team, scoring on his former home turf. I don't actually know if they played here on the new stadium last year, but still nonetheless pretty cool for him to score against his former team and has a chance to win a Baggataway Cup, which he never had a chance to do with the Queens in his 4 years previous.
Speaking of chances, Cody Arsenault, number 29 for Western, will get a chance to take the face-off.
Yeah, there's actually 4 players on the roster for Western that take face-off. So Arsenault and then Rakosi, obviously, Mike Byrne, and Rowan Kelly, who's actually not here this weekend.
He's at Colorado Mammoth training camp.
Yes, so.
Quite a battle for Arsenault, and he comes out with it. Keegan Crowley can't pick up the ball, though. Still in center. Now Crowley gets it. Actually was down in the Western locker room at the half. Had to use their facilities because the main bathrooms were locked. And they said, yeah, no problem, come on in. And I told Moriam, I said, I was kind of pulling for you and Crowley to finish that off because you don't see a lot of pull from goal goals. And I was a D guy. There's a shot. Nice save by Welsh on Ward. And then the ride, Ward right on top of him. Queen's trying to get clear here. And Welsh has all kinds of pressure. Seems to be working because he's running well, staying with Hutchin, and they hand it off. Alex Kula.
Actually building off what the players are wearing, you actually see a lot more players wearing the tights, and it's more of a fashion statement. Oh, speaking of fashion statement. Danetta, we're trying to say.
And then he pulls it back near side, just inside the post. And Queens with the big goal. They pull within 6. It's 9-3. Danetta pretty excited. Western has it off the face-off. Dallas Clancy doing a nice job jumping up into the offensive zone and helping out. Western taking their time, obviously not going to push the pace too much when they have this 6-goal lead into the third quarter, but they will go when they have a chance. You saw an opportunity there, but Aber spins back out, passes it off to Ward. They're going to go high and reset.
Yeah, the thing with the Mustangs and Jeremy Talevi, I mean, they're not going to try to develop any bad habits, of course. They probably would rather not run up the score, but we've seen this season where the Mustangs have put up, 20 goals, Yeah, plus 20 goals plus. So they're a team that's not afraid to really pile it on. So I mean, I would expect for this team, for at least for the rest of this third quarter, to continue to run their offense and continue to play their starters.
We've got matching penalties going here. There was some jostling out front. It was Jamie Finley, or sorry, it was Michael Byrne from Western and Chris Bouchy, who now Ian Garrison, the RIC, would not tell us. I asked him, was the stick too long? He said it failed the measurement. I said, which part of the measurement? He said, I can't tell you. He would not let us know. But as you said, he was hanging on to that stick. Boucher had to go to an alternative. Brent Coulombe, watching from above, was guessing. So we're speculating, but we think it may have been a bit too long. You can be 40 to 42 inches long in total length for a non-defender stick. And that may have been the issue, but Queens has possession. They throw it back, and a shot on net there. And Samuel Rowe is back in. That is great news. Because, again, as we talked about, to my mind, Rowe has been the best player on the field for Queen's University today. Hutchison, nice job to shed a check. He's got Crowley right up at midfield. Nice wrap check attempt. Goes for the trail check. Hutchison holds on to it. Great possession work by Hutchison. And he's going to head back and take a bit of a rest. And Chris Bouchy will come out and take a spot. Max McBride will join him up in the offensive zone. So Boucher is released. Looks like there was an extra penalty to Michael Byrne because he's still kneeling.
Yeah.
Now he's up and he's going to go back out and join the play.
There was a 30-second difference. So Byrne's penalty was actually a minute.
So we're back to even strength, and the Western player just running back. That was Nick Ferris who came back as a midi to get into the defensive side of things. Boy, what a fairy tale season for him, coming from Alberta, joining the Northmen, being a all-tournament selection at the Founders Cup in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Short angle shot attempted. Crease violation eventually, as Donetta was trying to get another one for Queens as they attempt to battle back into this.
With that penalty there with Boucher and Byrne, kind of reminds me, these two guys have played each other in multiple ranks in Junior A this season. Byrne playing for the Toronto Beaches and Boucher playing for the Burlington Chiefs. But even before that, in Junior B, Boucher playing with Halton Hills and the Ironheads for Byrne. And actually, Byrne was matched up with Boucher multiple times. So those are two guys that clearly know each other, and it shows that there might have been a little bad blood with a couple of extra shots and some extra words said, as well as it Byrne did get the extra 30 seconds. It was a 1 minute unsportsmanlike.
Western still up in the offensive zone. Simeone hands it off there to Masterson. Masterson trying to get away from Breslin. He's been having himself a solid game, but out in front, they get the ball into the net, and then McBroom is going to take the penalty on the hit just after the shot. That's Cody Ward, I believe, finished that one. Or is that Ben Mercy? It was Ward, right? It was Ward, yeah. So McBroom will go to the penalty area. So 1 minute call. Western gets possession because it was after the goal, as we saw in the earlier game. Great game. Now, if you are watching this and you didn't get a chance to see our earlier game, Trent and Guelph, the number 2 seed in the East versus the number 3 seed in the West, go and watch it. It is archived on the Kufla Facebook page. It's just a couple of posts down below this one that you're watching. It is a fantastic game. We won't tell you what happened. We promise. Well, we might, because we're going to have to tell you who's playing tomorrow. Brock is playing somebody from that game at 1 o'clock. There's a shot and a save by Welsh off the stick of Jackson Hulbert. And Welsh is going to go for a run. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire. Hey, and it is The goalie, Manny Najjar, heading way out of his net, catches the pass but then drops it but manages to get it back. We've seen Najjar go for some runs before. This time I think he was a little bit nervous after he dropped it once. What a battle for that loose ball. Moriyama tried to pull it out. Boy, long poles are good for a lot of things, but trying to pick up ground balls is not one of them. That's going to be a loose ball push in the back. It's just a little too much from Riley Venton, and Western will get the ball. I mean, it's great when you have to reach out and get one, but when you're trying to get a ground ball down by your feet, it's so hard because you don't really have time to shorten up on the shaft. Western with possession behind the Queens net. Samuel Rowe playing some defense again. Ward will just roll that pass across to Nick Ferris, who goes down in perfect form on one knee to pick up that ground ball. That pass skips through the legs of Simeone, and it'll be Queens' possession. 10-3 still for Western. Just over 9 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
I think it was a little bit of a miscommunication, as I think Simeone or someone was supposed to come back so they could release and get a proper shift change there. So you hear the bench trying to call for him there. And that's the type of things that, Jeremy Talevi doesn't want to happen. He doesn't want these players to get complacent and carry over these bad habits. You got to be smart. You got to continue playing, to the very end, the last whistle.
Western will get possession. Boy, in Queens, obviously a big comeback they would have to lodge here. But speaking of big comebacks, we do recall 3 years ago at McGill in Montreal, the Baggataway Cup was there, and Queens and Western were playing in the first game on the Friday. And Queens scored, if I recall correctly, it was 3 goals in the last minute and a half or so of that game to win that game and knock out Western. Western was very unhappy with some of the calls, although I honestly, watching them from above, the calls looked like they were legit penalties to me. But Queens took advantage and bumped the Mustangs from the game, so that's another reason you're not going to see Western really let up too much. Obviously they're taking their time, they're moving it around, but they've seen it happen, and they don't want to go to sleep here and let Queens get back into this game, and they're going to try a hard shot from the far side there. But that one goes wide. That was Ferris on his offside. He wanted to get in on things. There's Ward coming from behind with Breslin on him. Spins toward the middle. Great slide. Just as I was checking to see that it was Daniel Cluett with the slide, Western capitalizes.
They capitalize, and Ben Mercy picking up that loose ball and quickly right away, just a fast release and puts it top shelf. A beautiful goal from Mercy. Only 2 goals from him this year, but boy, that shot there looked like it could have came from a goal scorer for sure.
Well, and Mercy can play. He's mostly a D tranny. Oh, and now I've heard from we heard earlier from someone that it was indeed Taylor Walsh, but David John Hastings, we have to shout out, say thanks to him, and he said he texted the dad, and it is Asma in net for Queens. The thing is, Asma's listed as 21, so they've had to switch things up because they do have another 21 on the roster. And here comes Queens down the field. On top of the net, spinning, shooting. That's a great save by Najjar. That's a crease violation. What a great chance down at the other end for Kyle Aylesworth. He finished one earlier. Can't quite wrap it up this time, though. Of course, Davis Moore playing midfield wearing 21 for Queens. Actually, he's playing attack now. Simeone showing some speed. Rowe staying with him. Oh, Sam Rowe just glides across the field. There's Cole Davis. Gives it up to Patrick Gamble. Another thing you're going to see for Western as we get further into this game, we've got 5 minutes and a bit to go here in the third, is they're going to start getting some time. That shot just wide. Nice attempt by... That was Cole Davis getting that shot, but they're going to give some time to some guys who don't necessarily play quite as much. Jeremy Talib having a chat on the bench with Tegan Meredith, and Meredith making his way to the front of the line, getting ready. Looks like he's going to be coming in at some point. So you want, if you can, and you can't always do it because, there's some close games. You've got to think about competitiveness, but if you can get a chance to get as many players into the game as possible at the Baggataway Cup, it only helps you down the road to let them have that experience. And, they've put a lot of time and effort into being a part of this team. You want to get them on the field and let them experience it. And Meredith definitely looking like he's keen to get in there. Some other Western players bouncing around. Meredith has picked up a ball just to make sure the hands and the stick are loose and ready to go. I guess tight and ready to go with the stick. Don't want the strings too loose. Masterson throws it back up top to Davis. Shot to the far side. That's a great save by Asma. On the running shot by Byrne. And here comes Queen back up the field. Breslin actually just loses the ball as Ward bumps him. Breslin gets it back, though. We'll throw it to Asma. Oh, nice catch by Rowe, reaching up. And Queens, they've got numbers and a chance right in front. That was some defensive pressure there and looked like a great chance for Riley Benton. He's just not having much luck today. And a tackle by Alex Bulla. And then a poke from Bushi as Austin Haber runs off the field. May have given him a tap, but not much question as that was just a bull roping by Alex Bulla.
I know Haber's pretty tough to take down, but the football tackle might have seemed a little too much. But on that other chance there, now there's been twice now. Queens have had prime scoring opportunities. One, Manny Najjar with an absolute show-stopping save on the front door. The other, just an unlucky bounce. And it just honestly seems like Queens, they just can't get a lucky bounce here anywhere, really.
That pass skips away from its intended target, but still winds up in a Western stick. I don't know how that ball got to Nick Ferris. Cody Ward threw about 3 blue jerseys and their accompanying sticks, but he does get it through, but the save made by Asma. He'll toss it over. And Lachlan Evans goes for a bit of a run, gets stopped by the ride. Well, that one pops away. Daniel Cluett lost control of the ball. Rowe is there for an outlet. Cluett feeling the pressure. Nice job to get away from Ferris. And he'll throw it ahead to Bushi. Bushi's going to ward off the check of Mackenzie Williamson. Williamson goes for a tumble. Queens has a chance. And, oh, what a save. Are you kidding? Nick Ferris all the way back to absolutely rob Kyle Aylesworth. That was the play of the game by Nick Ferris. Spinning shot doesn't get through. The Mustangs bench erupted on that save, and it's going to be a ground ball possession foul, and Queens will get possession. I think Western thought it should have been a crease violation. What a play by Ferris coming back.
Yeah, you got to love the hustle play from Ferris. I mean, your team's up 11-3, and he sprints out of absolutely nowhere to dive in front of that ball and bail out Najjar. That's something that you definitely want to see. I mean, the coaches probably were gasping as he dove head first to block a shot, but nonetheless, bailing out for your goalie, you love to see that.
Najjar kind of found himself out of position a few times this game. He does love to run. He does love to get out there, and occasionally he can get himself in trouble, but he hasn't had that much to do in this game. He makes a save there in the final 30 seconds of this third quarter.
That's sometimes active goalies. That's what they do. They're chasing for a play. If they're not getting the action that they normally get, they're out there looking for something. Oh, bone crunching hit from Boucher.
Yeah, and they go after him. I think it's Ferris getting after Boucher there. And I mean, Chris Boucher had the 3-minute penalty that really was kind of the death knell for Queens. The quarter ends, but I mean, that penalty really was a blow to Queens coming out of the first quarter break, and he's been riled up ever since and frustrated that it's not quite working out the way he'd like, and they're still having some words. I'm Steven Stamp with Pat Gregoire. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the fourth quarter on Studio Q. This is the 2017 Baggataway Cup.
Quarterfinal game of the Kufla Baggataway Cup championship between the host Queen Gales and the Western Mustangs, who are the defending champs, and they find themselves up 11-3 right now. As once again, Western's going to come up with possession here. Western still holding onto the ball, waiting for their offensive players to come out. Mike Burns going to pick up the ball now at midfield. Still holding on as he's waiting. Western's going to work this around, and I'm going to hand this back off to Steven. He's back.
Sorry, I almost took Patty's nose off with the microphone cord there. Western will give up possession. Looked like Cole Davis thought they still had it, but Queens will get the ball and try the cleared long cross-field pass. That's like a quarterback rolling out to his right and throwing back to the left. And that's a big hit. I guess the ball had already been played. It wasn't actually near there. That would have been a good hit by Mac Burns. Had the ball still been there, but it had been played and was gone down back to up the field, actually, but either way, that will result in Queens possession. They're taking their time, getting their offensive players out on the field, and Dylan Hutchison will take the roll pass from Bulla. Alex Bulla reverses direction a few times. He's got the short stick defender on him, and Haber. Although Haber is just about as good with a short stick as most guys are with long poles. Running around from the crease, a shot attempted there by Davis Moore. Couldn't quite find his spot, but Queens will retain possession. Bula with it behind the net. Bushi goes for a run up to his wing spot. Now he trots around to get to Moore. There's Bushi. Can't accept the pass. Nice defense there by AJ Skirving. Oh, it's Michael Byrne. Never mind. Queens still with possession. Hutchison gets a little pick there. Can't find the rollers. A pretty nice little play by Riley Benton. Hutchison just couldn't find him, and now he does. And Benton drops the ball as he saw Haber coming to lay the boom. And actually just kind of ducked as the pass was coming his way.
Ball's going to go the other way, and these are those sloppy plays that if you're Western right now, you want to try to eliminate as much as possible. 16 minutes to go in the fourth. You don't want to mail it in. You want to come away with no injuries. You don't want to build any sort of bad habits. You want to get it done, but you just can't mail it in and make mistakes like that, because also you don't want to throw Manny Najjar to hang out to dry. I mean, he's played pretty solid. Actually, speaking of which, I think they actually. Is that Manny still in net? No.
Yeah,
it is. Okay. The glare off the jersey, it looked like it was a 17, but no, he's still in there.
That'd be interesting because 17 is Michael Byrne.
You know what? Hey, he's an all-tool player. I wouldn't be surprised if he popped in the net if he had to.
I say put Nick Darcy there.
He's got the best save of the night.
He does. Maybe the best save I've seen this season. Queens taking their time. Davis Moore with the ball behind the net. He's going to come for a run around. He's got his man open, Max McBride. That shot goes wide from the stick of Aylesworth. Queens will retain possession. And Queens gets one on the board. Nice finish there by Max McBride, taking the pass from Ryan McGuire.
It's a perfectly executed play from McGuire, dodging from X, draws that slide and perfectly put away there. I mean, like I said, maybe Western not playing quite as tight defensively, but you're kind of wondering where the offensive effort was there from Queens earlier on. That was a perfectly executed play.
Yeah, I mean, that was a nice play, and they took a long time to set that up, but eventually did, and then the ball just pops out of the stick there of the Queens defender. So it was Daniel Cluett. That shot goes wide, and again, three white jerseys racing back to make sure they gain possession. Western taking their time in the offensive zone. Jackson Hulbert trotting around behind the net. He's watched there by Colin DiGiacomo. Trying to work his way out. There's a man right on top of the crease. All alone was Tegan Meredith. He did come in. We saw him warming up, and the eyes may have gotten a little big there. She was wide open on top of the crease, and it just skipped away from him. Ball's thrown out of bounds, though, and Western will get it back. Just a word for Samir, our director. If Tegan Meredith does get a goal, make sure you use a replay from Ellie's camera, because they are buddies. And we're going to want to make sure that gets on there. Ben Mercy at the top setting up. There's a shot and a goal. That was Mac Burns getting in on the action. 7 goals and no assists in the regular season. Now he's got a goal in the playoffs.
There you go. And with those no assists there, you could tell that Burns had one idea, and that was to put the ball in the back of the net. Just coming up GLE, taking a couple of steps, and just uses his entire body to torque that shot. Looked like it went close side, near side, just beating Asthma. It's a great shot, but yeah, 7 goals on the season for him, 1 in the playoffs now.
Ball still loose on the ground after the face-off. Big collision. Western still trying to come up with possession. Queens still playing hard. Lots of credit to them that they are absolutely going after this. Western comes up with the ball, though. Charlie Dunn gets that, Lucy. Sorry, it's Jamie Finley gets the ground ball. He still has possession.
And Burns, a freshman here from Barrie, Ontario, so this is a good opportunity for him. You mentioned already trying to get some of your players into this game so they experience playoffs. Obviously, Burns going to be a guy down the road that it will be an impact player. Right now, it's tough to break an offense, an attack with guys like Cody Ward and Thomas Masterson. So for him to get into a few games here, getting 7 goals, it's good for him, and he's going to get the experience playing under the big lights here.
That shot just a little bit wide. Burns was looking for back-to-backers. Tegan Meredith will take it in the corner. We're nearing the midway point of the 4th quarter here. Baggataway Cup action live on Studio Q. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire. Again, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, the Brock Badgers will take on the winner of today's earlier game between the Trent Excalibur and Guelph Griffins. We promised we wouldn't spoil it for you. Great job by Breslin to strip that ball from Meredith and then tap it along the ground over to his teammate, Keaton Ward. That's just a terrific play by Breslin. You can see why he's an all-Canadian defender. Well, honorable mention, right? Yeah. Still, he's very good. Queens setting up possession in the offensive zone. They'll go to X. Bushi. Spins. He's got Mackenzie Wilkinson on him. There's a flag coming as Bushi is knocked to the turf. It's a holding call on Mackenzie. Sorry, on Wilkinson. Western has taken a timeout. They're going to try and set up their man down situation here. They have, put a few different players into the game and given some guys a chance to play. So they want to make sure. I think they're all on the same page. It'll be interesting to see if they change anyone up or let these guys go with it and just see what they can do.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if they're going to try to put in their number 1 kill. I think they'll probably elect to keep the players that are in the game right now. What better way to learn the systems in a real game action, especially in a big game like this. Although the score is 12-4, it's still at a Canadian national tournament. But I'm just going to assume that they called the timeout, make sure they go over everything, remind all the guys what they're supposed to do, and kind of give them a little time to think for themselves too, so they're not just getting thrown right into the fire.
9.5 minutes to go. Queens will be keen to get a shot here at adding to their 4-goal total. Yeah. The ball play is going on down in the western zone. Queens on offense. The Queens goalie and defenders and the western attackers still strolling towards the net at the other end of the field. Oh, a big hit. Haber was pinned between 2 players as he tried to pick that ball up. And Najjar just whips the ball the length of the field. It's going to work out pretty well as Burns is there. The loose ball push. Called on Dylan Mocha. That ball left there. Kevin Dong had the ball for Western. Now it is Tegan Meredith once again. So, Dong and Meredith getting some time on the field. They've got Jack Maroney out there, number 15. 18 is Max Burns. 23 is Haber, who's been playing the whole game. He'll come out. Oh, what a cheeky goal! And credit to Mitch McBroom, who is known for liking to play at the edge. And as Haber dropped that one over his shoulder into the net from facing away, McBroom just did not level him, which I kind of thought he might.
I don't know if McBroom saw that it was Haber, so he knew it's two unmovable objects coming in at once. But Haber, unbelievable goal. That's by far the nicest goal I've ever seen him score, and it probably is the guy, like I said, a gritty defender, so much athleticism and strength, but shows that in the offseason he was really working on his offensive skills, and he said to me, I really, really want to be an impact on offense. Didn't do it so much in the regular season, but here today, 2 goals. Pretty impressive.
And pretty nice goals, yeah. I mean, he's playing a legit offensive role, and even when he hasn't been scoring, he's been a big part of that motion offense. And that ball's just going to roll out of play. It gets away from Queens. It'll be Western possession. 7 minutes. Coming up to 7 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. So tomorrow it will be at 1 o'clock. Brock facing off against that Trent Guelph winner. And the winner of this game, we're going to go ahead and say it's probably Western. We'll be facing off against the McGill Redmond at 4 o'clock. Those are both going to be fantastic lacrosse games. Brock undefeated this year, going 12-0, beating this Western club twice, beating Guelph twice in those Western standings. Obviously beating everybody twice, but Brock is very, very good. And if they do indeed have Brandon Slade and Latrell Harris not at Toronto Rock Camp, and I believe the Rock Camp goes Friday and Sunday. Somebody was mentioning, if that's true, then it would make sense that they could be here tomorrow. Then we'd have to see if they make it to the championship game. Queens working the ball around the outside. Connor McCauley passes it down. Ryan McGuire. There's a chance for Queens. Bounces away. It's tapped ahead. Rolls straight out. McCauley with another chance. There's a shot down low. But Aylesworth has been largely snake bitten in this game. He did get the one that kind of bounced to him. McCauley with a little dodge leaves it there for Max McBride. Moving around the periphery. It's a fairly static setup. They've got Venton just kind of wandering around on top of the crease. He is being watched there by Cameron Lewis. That shot goes out of play. And Davis Moore will pick up the ball from the end zone. Love the paint job on the Queen sign in the end zone here too. It's pretty sweet. I know we've raved about the stadium some already, but such a nice venue for this tournament. Oh, what a finish by Alex Bulla. Just bounces one through Manny Najjar.
Alex Bulla, that's 2 goals for him now on the evening. He had, I think it was the first Queens goal, and he'll get one there, and it's just not completely switching hands, but kind of shoots the twister with a bouncer that beats Najjar. So Bulla, a captain for this team, says, like you mentioned, never surrender. Well, a couple of these guys on the Queens team, they're not surrendering. They want to play to the very end.
Nicely done. You link in the play at hand with the discussion we were just having about the arena or the stadium. The Never Surrender is on the wind fencing at the end of the one to our left, and right at the end of the end zone to the right where the stadium is enclosed. We have a penalty on the play. It's to Queens, so Western will go to the man up, and Tegan Meredith starting with the ball. Meredith had 8 goals and 4 assists in the regular season. We move it back up to the top, and Nicholas Hulbert is in the game, number 26. Up at the top of the formation, so chance for him to get in on the play. He had 1 goal, 1 assist in 12 games this year. Hulbert with it, throws it across to the far side. Hard rip by Mac Burns. Can't quite find the net, though. Saw Justin Turner out on the man up for Western as well, number 49. There's a bunch of Western players waiting to get into the game. Looking for a shot to get some action. There's a shot on the offside by Bouchy. Goes a little bit high. And Najjar is now out of the net. It's Ben Landers coming in. He played 245 minutes in the regular season, so he did get some time. Again, valuable experience for him here in a Baggataway Cup game. Dylan Hutchison, swim move, didn't really get him anywhere. Now he cuts through, shoots, scores! Hutchison with the Queens goal. It's 13-6. And Queens takes a timeout.
Hutchison, well, yeah, we were just wondering why.
It's stop time now. We're in the
Yeah, it's stop time, so it doesn't really make sense to make that call to stop the clock, because the clock already stops. And I don't know, maybe it's to chalk something up, but I don't know. Regardless, good to see Dylan Hutchison be rewarded there. He has played such a strong game as well, kind of all over the floor, back and forth. And good to see him, pot a goal there. And
sorry, I'm shaking my head because they just announced it as Daniel Paspolovsky, but that was Dylan Hutchison. There are 2 23s for Queens, and that was definitely Hutch.
Yeah, it definitely was. And, I mean, he's barely got off the field, it almost seems like, at some points.
Yeah, plays at both ends for them.
Yeah, he's like you mentioned earlier, he's a player that, does pride himself off, in his own end, but he can also support you offensively as well, especially in the field game. He's such a strong athlete.
Yeah, I mean, he had 16 goals and 12 assists this season, so he obviously is a big part of their offense. Just taking a look at their leading scorers this year, that is the 4th most goals of any Queens player, and he was also third in points on the team. So, absolutely, he's a big part of their offense, but he does play in the defensive zone. He's not right now. He has gone off for a bit of a break, but you'll see him out plenty. We're into the final 2:10 here. Western going to a bit of a 4 corners offense. They're actually going to throw it back into their own end, giving Peter Hunt a chance to handle the ball, and he's going to go up into the offensive zone. Not looking entirely comfortable up there. See, if I was him, I would have probably done the same thing, but looking back, I like to think I would have run it, gone and had to go. Max Burns going for a bit of a run here. Lachlan Evans staying with him. He hands it off. Charlie Taylor is going to get some time. He rolls a pass. Nice job. Oh, great stick, though. That was Bresselin again that created that turnover, and then it's scooped up by Lachlan Evans, but he throws it away. Great pickup by Jack Maroney. But then Queens gets stick on stick. Western trying to get the ball back, but there's no contact on the ball, just on the stick. It goes out off a Western player, so it is Queens possession. And Lachlan Evans will throw the long crossfield pass that skips away from Kellen Rankin. Getting a chance to play for Queens. Short stick D midi. Jonathan Tequila. Pass it to the near side, and there's Hulbert. Hands it off to Meredith. Jamie Finley gets the ball. He's watched by Breslin, who's running all over the defensive zone. You talk about never surrender Breslin with the trail check. What a strip. And that is Theo Breslin running all over the defensive end of the field for Queens. Like, that is just amazing effort by a guy whose team is trailing 13-6 with 35 seconds now to go. Ball's on the ground, scooped up eventually by Jamie Finley. Illegal screen called against Western. We can hear it. Great job by the officials to make themselves clear, because that's on the far side of the field, and we can hear that perfectly. Again, games at 1 and 4 tomorrow here on Studio Q. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire. 20 seconds to go, and we'll be wrapping up and getting ready for tomorrow, the semifinals. It is going to really ramp up in excitement as the Baggataway Cup reaches towards the final stages. Hutchison breaking down, gets a shot, just misses. Nice hit there by Jamie Finley as Hutchison was taking the shot. Just got the body on him, kind of threw his balance off a bit. 3.6 seconds, plays blown back in. Behind the back pass is picked off. That'll do it. The final score 13-6. I'm Stephen Stamp on behalf of Pat Gregoire and director Caitlin Kostas. Actually, she's not directing. She's producing now. Samir is directing this one. And the rest of the staff here at Studio Q, thanks for being with us. We're going to have lots of exciting Baggataway Cup action tomorrow right here on the KUFLA Facebook page. Please share it with all your friends everywhere on your social media. Let them know we're going to have a lot of great lacrosse action to come. That's it for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.